Thanks everyone for joining us. As you can see, we're ready for our next talk today with Ashita, who is a diehard Flutterista and creator of the Flutter Gems, that's fluttergems.dev, curated Flutter package guide, trusted by more than 7,000 Flutter developers across the globe. That's really impressive. And she's got a talk today for us about navigating the Flutter ecosystem and the journey from package discovery to publishing and beyond. Ashita, it's great to have you here.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So I'll leave you to the session. I just want to let everybody know you can leave questions in the chat and I'll be sure to keep track of them so that if at the end any are missed that we can get to them. And we will have our next networking session at starting at 1:45. All right, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, I am Ashita and today I'm going to be talking about how one can navigate the Flutter ecosystem. Starting from package discovery to publishing and beyond. So before we delve into today's talk, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I am a consultant by profession and a product person at heart, and also the creator of Flutter Gems. So let's begin with a quick overview of Flutter for people who are new to this technology. So Flutter is Google's cross-platform UI toolkit. With a single source code base, you can deploy your apps across mobile, web, and desktop. In mobile, you can make your apps for iOS as well as Android. In web, you can seamlessly access them across all popular browsers, including Edge, Safari, Chrome, Firefox, and Opera. And in the case of desktop, you can build apps for Windows, macOS, Linux, and Chrome OS. Now, what happens is when you have a single source code base and you can deploy your apps across multiple platforms, it increases the development cycle significantly, leading to faster development. Secondly, Flutter also has this awesome hot reload feature, which is very useful while debugging, and it increases the developer's efficiency as well. Now, Flutter has a large library of widgets, enabling us to make expressive and beautiful UIs. Unlike other cross-platform UI toolkits, code in Flutter is directly compiled to native code, which results in native performance. And lastly, Flutter is based on an easy-to-learn Dart programming language, which was again actually developed by Google itself. So Flutter is relatively young. It's just been 3 years since the first alpha release of Flutter. And in such a short span of time, it has completely taken the world by storm. Just in April 2020, we had around 50,000 apps on Google Play Store. And in the next 3 months, that number rose to an overwhelming 90,000. Flutter has obviously become a preferred choice for startups, small medium enterprises, and large-scale businesses alike. So to understand the power and scalability of Flutter, let's delve into some real-world cases. Dream11. So Dream11 is India's biggest fantasy sports platform, which is currently sponsoring India's biggest sporting event called the IPL. Now, Dream11 has been completely built on Flutter and it boasts of 100 million plus users. So you can understand how scalable your apps are when you build them using Flutter. Google Pay. So you must have recently heard Google Pay has completely migrated to Flutter. Now, what made them take this decision? So the reason they chose Flutter is because once you write a single source code base, you can deploy it across both iOS and Android, which results in a seamless customer experience for people on both the platforms. The seamless as well as a uniform customer experience. So there is no learning curve if you move from Android to iOS or vice versa. Just-in-time compiler with hot reload, as we discussed earlier, It enables rapid iteration on UI, which greatly increases the developer's efficiency. And an ahead of time compilation ensures high performance deployment. Now let's move to smart apps category. So Philips Hue. Now Philips is a large scale business. Philips Hue has been completely built on Flutter. Now what made a big organization like Philips choose Flutter for their development? The reason being, there are vast number of packages on Flutter which support IoT capabilities and other capabilities like Wi-Fi, BLE, Bluetooth, NFC, and beacon. And because of the support of packages which provide these capabilities, Flutter is the leading choice when it comes to IoT and smart home apps. So Flutter is much more than just an engine, a set of widgets, and some tools. It includes a large ecosystem of packages which can add functionality to your app beyond what comes out of the box. We have more than 12,000 plus Dart and Flutter packages on PubDev. And maneuvering this vast landscape to find the right package for your requirement is often a daunting task. So to understand this dilemma, let's undertake a developer's journey. So how does a developer actually begin his journey? He begins his journey by gathering requirement. And as we all know that a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So the first basic step is he tries to draw a crude mock-up of his requirement. Now that can be done either on a pen or paper as shown here, or you could use some wireframing tools to build it on a computer. Now he tries to draw out the UI using any of the methods. And thanks to material design specifications, we now have a formal language for the UI elements. So the UI that he has drawn earlier, he tries to map it using the material design language. He tries to figure out if he needs a bottom bar, an app bar, a navigation bar, or a drawer. But say your product manager comes and gives you this kind of a requirement, where you have a grid-based layout with cards, with images and text. Now, how can you put such a requirement in words? Now, there is no standard language for putting this kind of a UI. Or say he comes up with a requirement saying that he wants a slider with images on both sides, a movable slider. Now, clearly putting this in material design terms is very difficult. So then begins what we call the hunt. How can you express this widget in words? So let's go back to our image slider example. As you can see, there's a slider and image on both sides. So how do you go searching about the package which you need? So you will go to PubDev. You will try searching the basic keyword, that is image. So as you can see, when you search image on PubDev, you get results like the image package is one of the most popular packages, and you will get, but what does image do? It loads, manipulates, and save images, or even the other packages that are displayed. They support placeholders, or they provide you the ability to load larger images. Now, this is not what you are looking for. So you try changing your text that you are putting in the search bar. You try putting image slider. Now, if you see, you get a package named image slider, but if you go through the description, you will realize that it only allows you to scroll across images. This is not what we are looking for. We want the slider to move. not to scroll the images. Or even a Carousel Pro, which is one of the most popular features in apps. So you don't get what you are looking for. So before understanding, let's take a step back and analyze how search at PubDev works. So packages on PubDev are sorted based on their search relevance, that is the text that you enter, and individual package scores. Now, individual package scores are based on three parameters. Likes, it's a measure of how many developers actually like your package, and a raw measure of an overall sentiment from your peer developers. Popularity, popularity shows how many developers are actually using your package. And pub points. Pub points is more of a quality measure which ensures that you have proper documentation, code style, platform support, and maintainability. So, since you didn't get what you're looking for PubDev, the next obvious step for a lot of developers is to go and start hunting on forums. So, you have the image of your UI and you go about posting on various forums. You might get what you are looking for, or you might not even get any reply. You try to get help from the community. But the thing in this case is that the cycle for your resolution, for your issue resolution, is often too high. So, what if I tell you that there is a visual discovery platform that can aid you in your hunt? Because as we all know, that a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So that's where Flutter Gems comes to your rescue. Flutter Gems is a Flutter package landscape guide comprising 1,500 plus neatly categorized, useful and popular packages based on functionality. So this is just a snapshot of the website, and you can see there are a lot of categories. Like in user onboarding, you have splash screen, you have onboarding carousel, you have an authentication functionality, you have geolocation and maps, you have, say, sharing and intent, you have state management, which is one of the most hot topic in Flutter. So you can head to fluttergems.dev to explore the platform. Now let's come back to our issue, the Pinterest kind of UI that we were trying to make. So it's a grid-based layout, as we know. So if you go to Flutter Gems, there is a grid category on Flutter Gems. So when you click on it, you see there are 4 packages: Flutter Staggered Grid View, Drag Select Grid View, Flutter Layout Grid, and Waterfall Flow. If you just look at the images, you realize that Waterfall Flow is the exact package that you are looking for. That package completely meets your requirement. Now, coming down to Waterfall Flow using PubDev was very difficult. Because first, the name is not intuitive, because you are searching for something which is grid based, has cards, and the result is Waterfall Flow. Clearly based on text based relevance, you would never have reached Waterfall Flow. And the second point is, if you notice, the likes are one of the least on Waterfall Flow. The reason being, a lot of developers might not be looking for this package. This package might not meet their requirements, whereas you might be looking for it. So again, because of these parameters, searching on PubDev becomes very difficult. Whereas if you use Flutter Gems, a glance of 10 to 15 seconds and you will exactly find the package that completely meets your requirements. So coming to the second case again, image slider. So there's an image category on Flutter Gems. And if you see the package before after, it has a movable slider with image on both sides, clearly meets your requirements. But again, coming to this before after package using PubDev, because of the difference in names or because it has less likes, is very, very difficult using PubDev. But if you use Flutter Gems, you can immediately come to it. So now let's try to understand the product development process as such. So product development process, it's not a straightforward linear process where your product manager comes and gives you some requirement and the developer is just supposed to build it. It is a collaborative effort. It's a teamwork at the end of the day. So a lot of product managers are not aware of the complete technical capabilities of the platform that they are using. But you as a product developer are. So say you are glancing through Flutter Gems and you realize that there is a new UI category that has come up, new Morphic UI. You go through the packages and you realize that some elements are actually better suited to your UI currently. Now, what you can do is you can go and pitch into your product manager and let them know of it. And then you can collaboratively take a decision and build it. So this is where you can actually aid the product development process as such. Or say floating action button. Floating action button is one of the most commonly used widget across all apps. But there are a lot of variants available. Now, again, as a product manager, one might not be aware of the power of Flutter in such cases. So there, as a product developer, when you go through Flutter Gems, you realize that maybe this variant is better suited to your requirement than the one you're currently using. You can obviously go pitch in and get things changed. So now let's take a case study to understand how we can go about this. So we will be understanding a developer's journey through a demo app here called Street Artist. So what this demo app does, it lets you explore street art around your location. So again, the first step, as we discussed, will be to draw the wireframe. And as you can see, you have a grid of cards with image and location. And when you click on the image, it opens up an expanded image in a new screen. So again, after making this wireframe, you try to map it to material design specification terms, and you try to figure out whether you need an app bar or a drawer and etc. Now in Flutter, a lot of these widgets are pre-built, like app bar, grid view, card image, and you can directly use them. So this is the first iteration of the app that you make using Flutter inbuilt widgets. So let's look at it. So now if you look at it closely, you have cards with image and location. And when you click on an image, an expanded view of the image opens up on a new screen. But if you closely observe, you will realize that there is a mismatch of the aspect ratio between the card image and the full image. So the moment you click, you will see that there is a mismatch. So now this is hampering the user experience to a great extent. So how can we go about solving this issue? So a quick solution will be to fit the actual image in the card image. So let's see how it looks. So the image has been fitted in the card image. Now if you look through closely, you will see that a lot of screen is empty now. And this improper utilization of space is completely hampering the viewer experience. So what will be a good solution? A good solution will be to maintain the aspect ratio of the actual image in the card image. And this is what you get when you do that. So if you see, the card image is now proportional to the actual image. The aspect ratio is proportional, but expressing this kind of a UI in words again. Now it becomes very difficult because it is just not a simple grid now. So let's see how we can do this using Flutter Gems. So in Flutter Gems, if we go to the grid category, scrollables, you have grid category there. And if you go to grid, you will see that Flutter staggered grid view is the exact package that you are looking for. So the entire process of discovery using Flutter Gems becomes really easy. Now let's take another scenario. As your app improves, as you go ahead with your app, so do the requirements start increasing. Say things like adding a geolocation picker, adding things like an icon switch, which will give us a clustered map view, adding things like an animated floating action button menu to capture an image, and adding things like a social media reaction button to let know, basically to take the user preferences whether they like the street art or not. So let's see how we can use Flutter Gems to find the right package in this case quickly. So if you go to Flutter Gems, there is a location place address picker, and Google Map location picker is the exact package that you are looking for. For the clustered map view, Fluster is the package that we are looking for. For floating action button, the animated float action buttons is the package that will give you that animated floating action button menu. And for social media reaction button, to capture the user's preferences, if you see, the Flutter reaction button package is the exact package that we are looking for. So the entire process becomes seamless when you use Flutter Gems. So now let's come to a scenario when you tried searching for your package on Flutter Gems as well as on PubDev, but you didn't get what you're looking for. So how do you go about in such a case? So in such a case, what you have to do is you have to try to find a package that closely resembles your need. So you will select the package. You will try to suggest enhancements by raising an issue. You have to send across your pull request post discussion with the project owner. And it is very important to understand that you must fork your project only if it is a last resort. Because the moment you fork your project, the entire responsibility of maintaining the fork project comes on you. And that is a huge responsibility. Now, let's come to a scenario where you couldn't even find a package that closely resembled your needs. What do you do in that case? So the obvious step in that case is to go ahead and write a package from scratch and release it. So let's try to understand how you can go about releasing a new package. So it is very important to understand that documentation for any package is very, very important. It lets the user know what you are doing, and it gives him a clear insight as to how he can include your package while building his app. So README. README is the most important part of your documentation. You have to literally treat it like your Tinder profile. Your README can either get you a left swipe or a right swipe from the user. Your API should be well documented. And it is important to include micro examples instead of large monolith ones. Now, what happens is when you build a package, you might be offering a lot of features. And as a user, someone might not be looking to use all the features that your package provides. So if you add micro examples, highlighting fixed features, certain features, it is very easy for the user to grasp and actually derive what he is looking for than trying to figure it out in a large monolith example. The second thing is spreading the word. You have to spread the word about your package to increase its user adoption. So there is a very active Reddit community on Flutter called Flutter Dev. You must definitely go and announce your package there. You need to publish need plus use case stories on Flutter community at Medium so that people can actually realize the power of your package. You need to reach out to your local Flutter chapter so that they can spread the word on Twitter and meetups. And you must definitely go ahead and submit your package on Flutter Gems so that people can visually go through the package and can figure out whether they need it for their requirement or not. Now, just releasing the package is not work done. You also have to maintain the package. So you have to do rigorous testing. You must do unit testing where you test a single function, method, or class. You have to do widget testing or component testing where you test a single widget. You have to do integration testing where you test a complete app or a large part of the app. And it is important that you set up automated testing using CI/CD tools, which are often free for open source projects. One of the most commonly used CI/CD tools is Travis CI. Now, it is also important to set a frequency for major releases. In case of bulky projects, it is usually done every quarter. You have to update your changelog.md with each new release to list notable changes like adding new features, change in existing functionality, deprecation of soon to be removed features, removal of features in case you want to remove some features from your package because you think the user might no longer need it, fixing bugs, and security updates to combat vulnerabilities. Now, it is also important to accept community contribution in your package. So you must set up guidelines for repository contributors by adding a contributor.md file in your repository. You should respond to issues and pull requests and so that the community is also engaged. And always try to become a benevolent dictator for life and let the community shape the future of the package. So if you know of a great package that you have been using or you have yourself built one, go ahead and click on that contribute button on Flutter Gems and let the world know about it. Thank you.
Hello there. Thank you so much. This was an excellent presentation. And I think the tool you've built with Flutter Gems can really help people, get started with Flutter. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about how you decided to start the Flutter Gems project.
So basically, actually I was working on my app. I was trying to build an app. And if you see, Flutter has a lot of packages available, like for Carousel Pro or even for a splash screen, and a lot of great UI effects you can find on those packages. But using PubDev, like I was just trying to figure out which UI element I should use. And using PubDev, it was becoming very difficult to actually like note down that this is a good package or this is a good package. And I was actually trying to compare everything together so that I can have a seamless UI experience when I build it. So that's when I realized that I was actually doing the same work manually. So I realized if I need it so badly, then a lot of developers out there might also be facing this issue. So I decided that I should actually build it so that there is a repository where people can go and see the UI and figure out whether they actually need it or not.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's the best tools are always the ones that you need the most, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering also, so if somebody's really interested in developing their own package,
Yeah.
what's the best way for them to identify functionality that already exists in the community and
Yeah.
try to make something more unique?
So it depends on what you're looking for. So the first thing I'll say that if you go to Flutter Gems, everything is categorized based on the user journey. So you have
Hmm.
even functionality, there's a category. You have for state management, there's a category. So in case you feel that there is an unarticulated need for which there is no package, you need to actually first sit and go through that category, go through all the popular packages there. So if you go to Flutter Gems, you will have a visual image of the package, which will
Hmm.
show the features that the package is offering as well as a short description. So you can see if that is what you are looking for, or and exactly what are the capabilities that are being offered. So
Hmm.
I think if you go there, like one glance, you'll come to know that what are the capabilities that are offered. And then
Hmm.
accordingly, you can figure out the niche that no one is catering to, and you can actually build your package.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned like the Reddit and stuff too. You might be able to look and see what sort of questions people are asking about existing packages and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Really handy. Okay, fantastic. So it doesn't look like we have any additional audience questions. Is there anybody in the audience who has something to ask? So we have one here. Is there a template for making a package? Does it have to include continuous integration?
So, in terms of making a package, like the basic template that you must follow is you have to ensure that the documentation part is right. Because,
Hmm.
like, if you go on PubDev, a lot of packages, there is no description available as well. There are no examples. So, it becomes very difficult for a new user to realize what your package is doing in that case. So, that has to be there. And the second thing, yes, it is important to set CI/CD tools because it will help you automate your testing, and so in your future releases also it's going to help you. So you must always strive to actually set them up.
Hmm. Yeah, save yourself and your users some headache and make
Yeah.
sure that you've got good documentation because the best thing is when you get 16 emails about something and be like, "What? I thought this was obvious." You know?
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? I think we have time for a couple more questions. Yeah, please go ahead and ask your question in chat and I can read it out to the group. Okay, so talking about continuous integration, he says you've mentioned Travis. What about Jenkins?
No, so you could use any tool. I was just saying that Travis CI is one of the most popular tools. So just a second. If you go on the, so I've mentioned like Fastlane, Fledge, Cyrus CI. You could also use Jenkins. It's just about that these are one of the most popular ones, and I just mentioned Travis CI because it is the most used.
Hmm. Yeah, so the options are flexible.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question. Anybody else? We can keep going. I think we have time. We have about another 10 minutes if we still have questions from the audience. Seems like people really enjoyed your talk. They're super stoked. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Ashita, for being here. This was an excellent talk.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. All right, everybody. So we're going to go to our networking session next. And then after the networking session, we'll have our next round of talks. So please go ahead. Please use the networking function. It's a great opportunity to meet new people. And we'll see you soon. Bye now.